Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Let me start you with a funny story. My 13-year-old gets mad at me when if I go and get like breakfast at McDonald's or something. He always gets mad at me when he gets home if he finds out I went and got breakfast and didn't get him anything. So this morning I went to Crystal and got a low carb bowl. I like those from Crystal every once in a while. And I did get him something. But what I did is I hid his food in the refrigerator so that he won't be able to see it. And I put my Crystal bowl on the counter in the kitchen so that he'll see it when he comes in. And so I'll walk in and then I'll come down to my office and I can already tell you what's going. He's going to go just like this, Dad. And then I'll play along for a little. Keep the joke going for a little while, and then I'll show him I got him something. It's kind of funny. Been doing it since he was little. Okay, now I know this is Michael Saylor, crazy Michael Saylor, and I know he's talking about Bitcoin, but I just wanted you to understand the vibe of what's coming. The next 3 months, interest rates being decreased, ETFs, and the Clarity Act legislation from now to December is a time to be very excited. And he's talking Bitcoin, but he's right about the whole market.
Still getting those names, figured out. So we had Tom Lee on the broadcast. I don't know if you saw this earlier today. And he effectively said Bitcoin at $111,000 is headed to $200,000 effectively by Christmas. What do you think of that?
Well, most of the equity analysts that follow our stock have target prices for Bitcoin, and they're all north of 150. Bitcoin represents a digital transformation of the capital markets. And so the more people know about it, the more they get educated on it, the more companies embrace it, the higher it goes. You can't make any more of it. Right.
That may be all. But in terms of just what you're seeing in terms of flows and whatnot, that would get it to $200,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, great flows from the ETFs, BlackRock.
You haven't seen flows. There's more XRP ETFs that don't exist yet in the pipeline than anything.
Is showing record numbers. Our companies raised $19 billion this year.
You don't need to hear any more, but you get the point. And if you haven't done it yet, I'm literally telling you, listen, I have been through a lot of these. And November and December is normal. When we have runs, November and December, in my experience with XRP, tend to get pretty wild. And we have never had a setup like we've got now. We've been living under no legislation for over a decade. The table is set. And if you have not gotten your crypto, not just in a place that's safe, but also in a place where you're going to have the liquidity necessary to make moves if you want to make them, and then on top of that, to have a cherry on top where you actually have a person you can talk to if something doesn't go right or if you really need something quick, or a person you can email. That's what I do at Caleb and Brown with my XRP. Go to xrpwealth589.com if you're looking for all of that. But don't wait until this market's going off. And don't forget, most of these exchanges, when the markets get hot, they lock up. Not Caleb and Brown. Okay. We've got ourselves a $3 XRP, folks. This market's at 3.96 trillion. We're about to cross back into 4 trillion. You can feel it. And then here's the table is getting set on interest rates too.
PPI, wholesale inflation for August, expected to be up 0.3. No. Down 0.1%. Down 0.1. Wow. That would be the first negative number since April of this year when it was minus 0.2. If you strip out food and energy, we're also expecting up 0.3. It's minus 0.1 as well. minus 1/10, the same. Last time we had a minus number was April, and we're comping to minus 2/10 in April. And I do want to point out, last month we had up 9/10 on both those variables. They were the highest going back to March of 22. They just were revised slightly lower to 0.7, so 0.7% for each of those in the rearview mirror for July. Now let's look at ex-food, energy, and trade. Finally, as expected, up 0.3, which follows up 0.6 unrevised at this point. Up 0.3 would actually be the smallest, going back to 0 in June of this year. Now the year over year, in my opinion, these are the most important. And boy, I'm surprised. Real progress here. 2.6 on year over year headline. We are expecting 3.3 in the rearview mirror, 3.3, 2.
You can see the setup, folks. Wells Fargo says Fed to cut rates 5 times by mid-2026. 25 basis points cut this year, 2 more in early 2026, bringing rates down to 3 to 3.25%. It is going to be on like Donkey Kong if they do that, folks. Then here's Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, saying we need to make up.
If the Fed says they're data dependent and the data has been atrocious, then it seems like there's probably some makeup cuts in order here, or the size of this month's cut needs to be recalibrated. And sure, it could be fixed. Anything could be fixed. You just have to, first, we had to establish that it was broken, which President Trump did. Now we have to go about fixing it. And it wasn't working well before, that kind of this lazy notion that they had dropped down to these low response rates, 30, 40% response rates, and they intuited the balance. Intuiting the balance is going from quantitative to qualitative. We need good empirical data, and it's not easy to get to, but you got to want to get there, and we want to get there. I think EJ is a great person to do it. I've known him for years. He's high integrity data.
So they want to get a bunch of rate cuts. And then SEC opens the door to the super apps. I've been saying for a long time, I felt like the X platform was the United States answer to the Chinese WeChat, and that it's going to incorporate crypto. And I have just a hunch that XRP and or XLM are going to be involved in being the back end. XRP net, this is Chad Steingraber. XRP net inflows are coming in from USD directly on Coinbase and Gemini, up bit one as well. Total inflows 29 million in the debt on the day. Then we have the SEC chair, and he's talking about crypto's time has come.
And today, ladies and gentlemen, we must admit,
I'm telling you, the next 3 months, folks. That's a thumbnail.
that crypto's time has come. For too long, the SEC has weaponized its investigatory subpoena and enforcement authorities to subvert the crypto industry. That approach was not only ineffective, but injurious. It drove jobs, innovation, and capital overseas. American entrepreneurs bore the brunt and have been forced to spend fortunes on building a legal defense instead of a business. That chapter belongs to history. It's a new day at the SEC. Policy is no longer set by ad hoc enforcement actions. We will provide clear, predictable rules of the road so that innovators can thrive in the United States. President Trump has tasked me and my counterparts across the administration with making America the crypto capital of the world. And the President's Working Group on Digital Asset Markets has delivered a bold blueprint to guide us in those efforts.
I've waited since 2014 for this moment, folks. I almost want to cry at this point. Look at this from Stellar.
400,000 addresses within 1 quarter. Real world asset supply hit almost $800 million, or rather $600 million at the end of June, and has continued to increase. So I'm wondering, where are you seeing the growth on the Stellar network?
Well, so though I love those numbers, but we need them bigger. We need them to be more and more and more. We need to see total value locked on Sorbonne to be $1 billion. We need to see all of these things happen, and we need to see it happen quickly. So I love it, and I love the growth. And we're seeing tons of growth in addresses because we're seeing all these wallets really move on to the network, create opportunity for their users, and then grow the user base really quickly. And so we see AirTM, it's a wallet on Stellar that's grown really quickly over the last year. We see Decaf growing, Vibrance growing. So when I think about like what and Meru, it's a wallet in South America, it's also really growing. So when I think about like what's important here, addresses are really crucial because you're seeing that you're touching humans. But when you see the need to have assets that are interesting and available to everyone, that are sort of, some of them are going to be permissioned, and that's okay for some populations, but then the permissionless ones are even better. Those are the growth numbers that I want to see too. I want to see Sorbonne get to the billion TVL because it's a vanity number. I'm just going to be super honest. It doesn't really show anything, but you need that. You need it to show that like this, there is so much happening on the network.
I think all boats are going to rise. Today's Rocket Power Day. Right now, every single donation to every single STEM project on Donors Choose will be doubled. Donate today. Help students bring their space-age, tech-friendly, number-crunching dreams to life. And that's with Ripple. Look at this from Litecoin. It's come to our attention that recent posts made by the Litecoin intern over the last few weeks have not been received well by certain members of the community and beyond due to their abrasive and combative nature. No one should ever feel attacked, minimized, We've made the decision to relieve the intern of their duties and replace them with a kinder, gentler, and more politically correct social media presence that embraces every blockchain project. You should see these changes take effect immediately. I don't know if this is a joke. Doesn't matter. The XRP army is undefeated, and that's the fact, Jack. Okay, we're going to go into DAIXRP.com. Every once in a while, I show you my my crypto watch list. I pretty much only own XRP right now, but that doesn't mean I don't think other digital assets will be a part of the new financial infrastructure. I do. I think there's several of them, and I'll show you what those are. I try to show it every once in a while because there's new people in the group. So go to DAIXRP.com, that's the Patreon, or you can join through YouTube. Click join below any of the YouTube videos, or you can join through X, hit subscribe. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.